Rich calls me, my coach, training partner, friend, calls me. He's like, hey, you want to fight? I'm like, absolutely. He's like, all right, I'll see you at 7. I was like, whoa, hold up, bro. What do you do? I'm like here, I'm at the gym. We're just meeting at the gym just to hang out, you know, with like Thanksgiving's on Thursday, it's a Saturday. So we're still like in the celebratory mood, right? He calls me at like 11 o'clock, you know, noon. Calls me, he's like, hey, you want to fight? I'm like, absolutely, who wouldn't? And I was young back then. So of course I wanted to fight. He's like, oh, you got like 7 hours. I'm like, whoa, hold up, bro. What do you, like, who and where? He's like, that's out in Rockford. I'm trying to figure out the weight.
All right, another episode of Adversity Kings. Special guest today, we have Nam, correct?
Yes.
Let's go, dude. How you doing today?
I'm doing phenomenal. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. We're doing real good. Happy 4th of July.
Absolutely. Happy 4th, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So what's on the agenda for today? What's this week look like for you?
Stuff that within that week or within fight week. So that's why I don't say nothing until like something's confirmed, which is weird because it's like I've had it a couple times.
Yeah.
In the amateur world, right?
Yeah.
But now we're in the professional. You see, like almost not this stuff shouldn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're like the co-main event,
Yeah.
like you're guaranteed a fight. Yeah. Then that didn't happen either. I was a co-main event and it didn't happen. So now I don't say nothing. And well, I should have known better, but. Now I don't say nothing until like paperwork is signed and you know, then I make it happen.
Even then, stuff can pop up.
Yeah,
you see the UFC.
I did.
You know what I mean?
Same
They just
thing. What
had that big
happened?
contract.
They signed the contract, had an opponent, and everything was all set and go, and then it didn't happen. The week of fight, we were trying to scramble to get me a fight, but it didn't happen. Just that's how it is, man. It's just part of the business, I guess. Not a big fan of it, but that's just how it works.
Is it Dan Ige or something? He had like a 4-hour notice and fought on the 303 card, right? It was like a 4-hour notice, and there was a bunch of fights that fell through. That's like the highest level.
That is the highest.
You know what I mean?
We're talking about like the UFC, Bellator. Those are big.
And the biggest card, probably one of the biggest cards of the year. And I think they had three fights fall through. Yeah. McGregor fell out with a broken pinky toe. I think Hamzat had
something asthma or something.
Something flu.
Some flu. Yeah.
Some guy had staph, I heard.
Yeah. The shortest one I had, which was the craziest one, was like the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Rich calls me, my coach, training partner, friend, calls me. He's like, hey, you want to fight? I'm like, absolutely. He's like, all right, I'll see you at 7. I was like, whoa, hold up, bro. What do you do? I'm like here, I'm at the gym. We're just meeting at the gym just to hang out, you know, with like Thanksgiving's on Thursday, it's a Saturday. So we're still like in the celebratory mood, right? He calls me at like 11 o'clock, you know, noon. Calls me. He's like, hey, you want to fight? I'm like, absolutely. Who wouldn't? And I was young back then. So of course I wanted to fight. He's like, oh, you got like 7 hours. I'm like, whoa, hold up, bro. What do you, like, who and where? He's like, that's out in Rockford. I'm trying to figure out the weight. How much you weigh now? I'm like, I don't know, man, but I'm probably big. We just had Thanksgiving and I've been eating Thursday. I was probably eating Wednesday, Thursday. I've been eating the whole week. He's like, well, you gotta like start losing weight. So I grabbed my team back then. I'm grabbing other sweaters. I'm just putting on clothes. And I'm just hopping on the treadmill. Right, everyone's eating their like leftovers. My buddy was making like those Scottish eggs.
Yeah. The Scotch eggs. Yeah, with the sausage. Yeah, they're fire.
He was deep frying them, right? And everyone's having a great time. And I'm like putting on shit. I'm just like I'm like running on the treadmill. And they're like, what's happening? What are you doing? I'm like, I just took a fight last minute. And they're like, today? I'm like, yeah, today. So I had to cut some ungodly weird amount of weight within that, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours. I was not my best.
How'd the fight go?
I lost split decision.
Yeah.
Because I was on this streak of like winning. I was on win, and on top of that, I was like knocking people out or, you know, TKOing them, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever. I had this whole, you know, oomph about me where I was going to go and win, right? I'm like, all right, I'll just knock them out, right?
Yeah.
I go in first round, I'm like throwing everything in the kitchen sink the guy didn't go away. I'm like, oh
Damn.
shit. I'm like, all right, second round come. Same thing. Then I'm like, all right, now I'm getting tired. Now I'm breathing hard. Now then he starts picking up pace, and then that's how it was.
Yeah.
What weight was it? What weight did you fight in?
I think I fought at 55. I think I cut like 10 or 15. It was like close to 15 pounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that weight.
you look like you walk like 165. What do you walk?
Now?
170.
Oh no, yeah, I'm about 170.
Yeah.
Close to
Okay.
170.
What would you fight? What are you fighting
Now?
Yeah. What are you gonna fight?
45, 42, 45.
You're gonna cut to
Damn.
42, 45.
Yeah,
By
Wow.
August 3rd. By August 3rd.
yeah. I'm pretty good with it. Like,
Yeah. Like water manipulation and all
Yeah,
that.
water manipulation. There's a science behind it. I don't go, like how I did in like the old wrestling days where you just kind of run around with a bunch of sweatsuits and in the pool and try to get that.
Yeah, I've
water.
seen guys where they like do no salt, drink a bunch of water, like 0 sodium, 0 carbs, drink a bunch of water, and they'll cut fast.
I do that. I minimize that amount the week of weigh-ins.
Okay.
The week of weigh-in, maybe even like about 7 to 8 days, depending on where I am at.
Yeah.
Weight-wise. I started manipulating my carbohydrate intake, my salt intake, and my ultimately water intake.
Yeah.
I water load.
Yeah, and then
right?
you pee
I
it all
water
out.
load for X amount of time. I pee, and then hop into the sauna, steam room, jacuzzi, and all that stuff. And I kind of pull all that stuff out. But it's still not good for you. But I've done it in which like I only have to cut X amount of weight, like 10 pounds within that week or 12 pounds within that.
And the
week.
weigh-in's the day before.
Yeah.
And so the day of the fight, how much weight do you think you put back on? Like you make 142, 145. What do you think you're in the ring at? 155?
Yeah, 55 to 60. I put back between 10 to 15.
Yeah.
24 hours.
Less, yeah.
That's usually average.
Yeah.
There's guys like Pereira, when he cuts to 85,
Oh my God.
he gets back to 205 easily.
He gains 45 pounds in 24 hours.
Yeah, easily.
And
That's
this is like MMA where like you have to carry somebody if he tries to. I mean, he doesn't, but imagine you have to carry. Imagine carrying an additional plate.
Yeah.
yeah.
Whatever you do. Like some dude just put on a plate, you got to carry him around. Ugh. That's
It's
just
insane.
hard.
Yeah,
That's insane.
It's insane.
And you feel good though, man? Like
Yeah.
really?
I
Feel strong?
I feel the same, to be honest, with the day because I've done it so often and so long. So now I feel the same. The same as weigh-in. Maybe I'm a little bit more energized. I'm not as lethargic. But yeah, I feel the same. I still feel like I still have the same zip, same power, same speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you weigh now?
I think I'm 184 right now.
24?
Yeah.
That's probably the leanest I've seen you.
Yeah, I'm at 6% body fat right now.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't
they're
think-
trying to shrink me down at one point. Rich was having me shrink down to 137.
Ooh,
Because
that's
I
crazy.
fought this guy at the national tournament. I think it was like 6'3" and 147. He fought-
6'3"?
Unbelievable somehow their dimension and how these guys are just naturally how they are. I was just like,
Yeah.
wow.
I don't like
Imagine
that.
6'3" and 147. And he could have easily made 145. apparently.
Yeah, I wouldn't
What do
like
you do?
that.
Just try to chop them down, man? Leg kicks?
Yeah,
Just
leg
drop
kick,
them because you
try
can't
inside.
get in.
Yeah, you can't get in. You can't. You gotta stay on the outside. We're trying to work in, but
Yeah.
it didn't work out. I think he was fighting for one championship,
Yeah.
so he's there. Yeah, I think when he fought me, he hasn't lost in like 6 years in Canada or something like
That's
that. That was
insane.
his thing. We talked after the tournament and talked about it, and he's I haven't lost in like a few years or something like that. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Now, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Vietnam, Long An, Vietnam. I came to the States when I was 8 years old. I
Yeah.
came to Berwyn or Cicero area when I was 8 years old. And, that's where I kind of grew up for a little bit.
I've heard Vietnamese is a very difficult language to learn. Like, it's very intricate.
Very difficult.
Very
it's
intricate.
different regions. So Vietnam, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, it's like Northern Vietnamese is like Chinese influence.
Yeah.
Central Vietnamese is like more of like French, and the lower you go down the country, it's like English influence.
Yeah.
So the dialects is different completely. So when you talk to like a Northern Vietnamese or Central Vietnamese, like I have no idea. I'm like
The dialect's that different?
Yeah.
You can't even tell?
yeah. So for example,
That's
my
how it is in
girl.
Taiwan. You could tell.
Yeah.
Like,
So for my girl, she was did a little thing with Rosetta Stone, right? And she was trying to like understand it. Huh?
I do Duolingo.
Yeah? Duolingo. Okay,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
yeah. So she was trying to learn Vietnamese, right? Because we were going to go to Vietnam. Like I haven't been there since I was 8. So I went there like right before COVID,
Yeah.
right? And she was trying to learn the language. And some of the terms and terminology there, she was asking me, "So, is this what it means?" I'm like, I have no idea. I had no clue. So I had to like contact like other Vietnamese people that I knew within my small circle. I'm like, "Hey, what does this mean?" It's like, "Oh yeah, this is what it means."
Yeah.
And she was trying to explain it to me too, what it means. So for example, it's like pop and soda,
Yeah.
or cap and hat.
Yeah.
That's what it means. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah. And it changes some region dialect and all that stuff too.
That's
very
insane.
interesting. Yeah.
That's insane. So, what brought your parents over?
I think back in the early 80s, they just wanted a brighter future for me because we were, post-Vietnam War.
I was gonna say, when was the war? 70s?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was born in '85. So my mom and dad, they were like post-Vietnam War. It was to the point where like you couldn't go out when they were young. They were in their teens, late teens. They couldn't go out into like the fields to play because they're fucking mines.
Yeah.
That and then what was that stuff called they used to drop from the sky? The orange?
Agent
Orange. I know
Yeah.
that affected a lot of people.
Yeah, but this stuff was still lingering because after everyone left, stuff like this, they didn't clean everything, right? So there was still booby trap, landmines, and you can fall into like these pits of like nails and sharp objects, and then you can die. So there are kids back then that would like go out and play, play with your friends. You're young. You fucking fall into one of these things. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
You fall in one of these things, and that's it. That's it. That's your life at 8, 15, 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's wild.
What was the journey like getting over?
It was just your mom.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
just his mom,
Just mom.
that brought.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, well, my dad came here. He was a refugee, so he
Okay.
came to the States. So he like got on the boat. He was a fisherman, and he with his team or his crew, they sailed to, I believe, in one of the smaller, maybe even Guam or something like that. And then they flew over here. My uncle initially did the trip, so my uncle was already here. And then he talked to my dad. My dad was like, "All right, let's make this happen," because there was nothing around. Like,
Yeah.
it was just bad. In Vietnam, we're talking about like we still were in third world country. When I was born, we still have dirt roads, no lights, nothing, dirt roads, right? So they made that decision. My dad came here. He lived, worked, and then he brought my mom and I over. And we came here when I was 8. So that was like 93. Yeah, 93. End of 92, early 93. Or maybe even 1993.
Okay.
Yeah, we lived in Cicero, where it was predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. So I got to experience that for a little bit, experience snow, experience all these different culture, or the American culture compared to Vietnam.
Yeah.
So we did that, or I did that, and then we did what we had to do as immigrants to survive. Like my first little gig, side job to help my parents was 10 years old.
Yeah.
So I was working about when I was 10 years old.
Same here, busboy.
Yeah. I was like helping my mom doing whatever she was doing. We were just doing the odds end job, and then my brother was born, and I was kind of helping taking care of him for a little bit, and then I grew up, got to experience the life.
When did you get into fighting?
Huh?
When did you get into fighting?
I got into fighting when I was at Loyola, right? Because before that, I ended up getting a scholarship to play football and tennis at Concordia University.
Yeah, what position you played?
I played corner.
Okay.
I played corner, and I played singles and doubles for tennis.
Yeah.
Right? originally, before that, I wanted to go to college and wrestle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to try to do. It was a long shot, but I was trying to do a walk on at Michigan State. And then I got looked at from like Edwardsville back when they had a wrestling program.
Are you familiar with Izzy Style?
Yes,
Yeah.
Izzy Style was he. I used to watch him when I was in high school.
Oh wow.
Israel Martinez.
Yeah.
Israel Martinez. Yeah. Now he's worked with guys from the UFC and all these people.
I've gone to a
Famous
couple of his practices, and I sponsored a couple kids as well.
Yeah.
Get them some wrestling shoes.
Yeah, now
stuff
he's
like
actually a coach at
Montini.
Montini, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Montini was I wrestled against Montini when I was in high school. But yeah, I watched Israel Martinez when I was younger.
Yeah.
Big fan of
I
his.
love wrestling.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I love wrestling.
So I thought I was going to continue that route. But I hurt my shoulder. I tore my labrum. I never got the surgery.
Shoulders are the worst.
All the time. Shoulders and ankles and knees actually. All the big joints.
Yeah,
Just once it's done, you're pretty much done.
My first year in
Shoulders and
jiu-jitsu,
you.
I tore the meniscus. I did a
Yep.
bucket handle tear, and that's where the meniscus will flip back and it locks out.
I had a partial tear on my right meniscus. Dude hit an inside single and he like turned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah,
turned,
yeah.
And he kept tearing. He kept turning, and it kind of slightly ripped.
Yeah.
Partial tear.
Meniscus is annoying.
Awful. But I ended up playing football and tennis at a school called Concordia University in River Forest. So I was there for a little bit. I wanted to become a teacher because that's what my mom was. She was when she was in Vietnam. But I just kind of got bored of the environment that I was in because it was a very small college. I think it was like maybe 2,000, 3,000 students or as a whole. And my high school was about that big, So it was very small, and I just wanted something different. And then I ended up transferring to Loyola University. Up in Rogers Park in Chicago there. So I was there, and all I did was I was still lifting weights and stuff, right? Because I enjoy working out. I got big, I got real bulky, but I couldn't do anything with it. And then I end up, there was this thing, activity fair, or one of these like fairs in which they had like different clubs, or like one of these club fairs for the university. So I went there, and then I happened to walk past this table where they had like
Don't worry about
karate
it.
club.
I don't know why I don't.
And within there, they also do other things like kickboxing, and back then it was called Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. So I got into there, and I started doing things. I started, utilizing my wrestling, and a lot of these kick or karate guys they didn't understand it, and they like grappling. It was very new at the time. This is probably in like 2007, 06, around that time. So they weren't a bigger fan. So one of the instructors like, hey, we can, do you like kickboxing? This is American kickboxing, so there was no kick. You have to kick waist up. So I started doing that. And then I was supposed to have like this like amateur fight. It didn't happen. So then something came up that's like, hey, do you want to do MMA? Back then, this is relatively new, right? So this is maybe back in like 2007, 2008 when they got...
Yeah, UFC was just getting started.
And I had no idea what mixed martial art was. I had no idea. They're like, it's mixed martial arts. I'm like, what is that? Is that like karate or kickboxing? They're like, no, it's cage fighting. And this new concept of the UFC was like so fascinating. I was like, oh shit, this would be cool. They're like, yeah, all you need to do is, learn a little bit more kickboxing. You're pretty confident in your wrestling. So, you should do it. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I was like training for an MMA fight, right, back then. Back out now I was trying to go to school, do MMA or martial arts, and ultimately get this fight. And then taking the fight, I didn't win, right? But then I was like, all right, I think I like this. I'm gonna pursue this a little bit further, right? So I was like doing MMA or practicing MMA until when I got out of college. And when I was out of college, I was trying to find a job because student loans started piling up, and I was living by myself. So I was just trying to do that, and applying for entry position job, you needed 3 to 5 years experience, and I had no 3 to 5 years experience.
College is so dumb.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, go to college, get this degree, and then you're going to be set up for life. And then you get the degree in whatever field you want to work in.
They need 3 to 5 years. Yeah. I'm like, how? I just graduated.
You just spent 3 to 5 years.
Like 6 months ago. How am I going to get 3 to 5 years experience, right? And then your student loan starts compiling, and they're like, yo, they start asking you for money. And they're like, yo, where's this money that you need? So that's where it kind of like started to materialize that maybe I could like do this for a little bit of time to see if I like it. And then back then, I was just looking out for gyms just to train. And back then, like it wasn't available.
What brought you to Muay Thai?
So I just kept getting hurt. Like I broke my finger. I kept getting hurt. I just kept getting hurt doing jiu-jitsu. I thought I was going to do jiu-jitsu for like forever because wrestling, my first love for wrestling to jiu-jitsu was just right
smooth
there. Like it was like smooth transition, easy transition.
Yeah.
Back then, I was helping his name Stefan Bonner. I'm not sure he passed.
Yeah.
I was working out with him for a little bit.
Oh,
like
shit.
I was like
Really?
taking. Yeah, he was from Chicago. He was from Carlson.
That's right.
Gracie
He
Jr.
is. That's right.
I
You battle against what is that guy? Forrest?
Yeah, Forrest Griffin. Right?
Yeah.
So back then, like I'm helping these like black belt, brown belts, even purple belts.
Yeah.
Like with their takedown, right? Like don't get me wrong, like I won't take them down, but by the time their back hits the mat, I'm already like choked out with like guillotine, like triangle choke and omoplatas. I'm getting like smoke, right?
Yeah.
So, but then I started working, and I thought that was the route I was gonna go. But then I kept getting hurt. I kept tearing my shoulder that never healed because I tore my labrum back when I was in high school. I broke my finger. I broke it. They had to like do surgery. It was like all this crazy stuff. Then I stuck my hand into a glove because I still wanted to work out. So I was just like punching the heavy bag. And then my first Muay Thai coach was Robbie Cole. He was like, yo, you look like you know what you're doing. I was like, kind of. I would just hit things as hard as a human can, just see where to break a sweat, right? So he started working out with me. We were just like doing simple drills and, you know, bag work and stuff like that. And then he ends up giving me my first fight. And I won by TKO. So I'm like, all right, I can you know, pursue this.
Yeah.
Right, in this sport. And I was still like within the realm of MMA. I was going to pursue back and forth between striking and jiu-jitsu. Then the bill starts coming in. And then I was like, man, you need like a legitimate job where it like pays for your student loan, your cost of living. Because at that time, I had a hard time, like, I couldn't take, and back then the L was, I think I was like 75 cents or $1 from the train from where Rogers Park to like, now it's like $2 or something like that. I didn't even have that to like cover my expenses. Like I couldn't even like take the L back and forth from my home to the gym. So then I was sleeping at the gym. And I was like doing, you know, I was just trying to save money just to basically survive, right? So I ended up getting a job. And then I started working while pursuing this other half of my dream. But I couldn't do it all. I couldn't do it all like how it is here. Like here now they have facilities where you can box, you can do jiu-jitsu, you can do kickboxing all in one area.
Yeah.
Back then you couldn't do it. You had to go to Quad's gym to learn Chicago wrestling. Then you had to go somewhere else to learn your boxing. Kickboxing or Thai boxing wasn't even available back then. It was pretty much wrestling and boxing, right? And then I had a job, and I was like trying to manage that, and after a while, I couldn't do it, and I chose kickboxing or Muay Thai because my old trainer Robbie has invested, and we became friends. Like he's like, you know, I look up to him as still now. So I stuck with that instead of the jiu-jitsu part. So I started training with him. We became serious, and then I started winning.
When did you turn pro?
3 years ago, 4 years ago.
What's your pro record at this point?
Oh God, it's not good. It's officially it's 0-1. It's 0-1 actually. But I fought pro-am since quite a while. Maybe it's like, yeah. But then I fought pro-am for a while. I haven't had that big win yet. Still thinking about, still pursuing it, still trying to get after it. Haven't had that big win because, you know, X amount of reason. Yeah. That's where we're at.
It's huge though, just to continue it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't even get in the ring. 99% of people don't even get in the ring. So getting in the ring it's a victory in and of itself. You know?
Yeah. I fought a few AMs, fought for a few titles here and there. Didn't work out. But never crossed that line just yet.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this August 3rd will be the opportunity for me to do so.
Yeah.
I've had big wins in smaller organizations, but nothing like big in a sense that, you know, it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What's the next like 5 years look like for you?
So I'm like waist deep in the grave right now as in terms of age, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting older. I'm almost pushing 40. So, you know, a few more fights, a few more big wins, and then I'm going to just hang it up and, you know, pursue something else. I haven't thought about going back to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because it's just less impactful on the body. Like with kickboxing, especially training with my gym out with Rich, it's just like it's hard on the body. Like somebody's fucking punching you, kicking you, like with like Dutch style drilling.
Yeah.
Because we don't have like so much pads to hold, and sometimes the pad holder needs to know what they're doing, you know.
Yeah.
But we do that, and I'm just like sore and beat up, and on top of that, I go from work, and then from work, I go straight to practice.
Yeah.
You know, from Chicago to Roselle is a nice hour drive, especially during rush hour.
Yeah, easily.
So I trained out there. So that's where I'm looking at. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll just focus on coaching or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I thought about going back to school, but I have to be done with my student loans before I head back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 1,000%.
So I have a couple of avenues and boulevards in which I can pursue. I just don't know which one. You know,
1,000%.
that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. You got anything else?
No, man. So I guess final thought question for you is, what gets you into the ring now? Is it just before you exit the sport, are you chasing that one big win?
No, it's not even about the win. It's not about the win. I enjoy fighting. Like just make me less of a Neanderthal, right? I enjoy competing. Like when you say, "Oh, I enjoy fighting," people are like, "All right, something's wrong with you."
No, I like fighting.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, you get a little eye, especially people who are not familiar with the combat sport industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They give you a side eye because I'm a chemist, right? You know, so I, you know, in that sense, you know, I come to work. Sometimes I get a little beat up, a little, you know, black eye, a little bruised up, a little, you know, I walk differently. I'm a little banged up. For example, one of my bosses' retirement, I just fought that weekend. I'm all scraped up. I had stitches on my face. So, you know, he was like,
"Took a elbow."
I was like, "It's a rough, fun weekend."
Yeah.
So, going back to what you're saying, it's just, I just want to continue to fight and pursue this dream that I've had for when I started, and see where it gets me.
Yeah.
You know, but I think and I don't know. I even said, you know, if when I turn 40, I don't care if they give me $1 million for a fight. I think I'm gonna turn it down.
Yeah.
You know. But you know, having said that, right? You know,
you touch that cash.
When you touch that cash,
Yeah.
then you're like, I don't know.
Knowing can solve a lot of problems.
Yeah. Not in Chicago. Maybe
not in
I would
Chicago.
like
No, but it'll
Tennessee
solve
or
enough problems. To let you
Yeah,
breathe.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll solve enough. It'll take care of you for a little bit of time. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, so I just enjoy competing. There's nothing like it in the sense of where you are as an individual. You kind of find yourself as a person. Especially when you go in these like training camps, right? Because I don't want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do my run before I go to work. You know, sometimes I don't even do that. So sometimes after work during my lunch period, I would go and I would run and then like eat very quickly to get back to work. Right? I try to get my 2-day in, you know, and then I go to practice. And practice, you know, I head out result. Our practice is long, it's grueling.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes like I don't get back home till about 11:30 at night. Clean up, shower up, get to bed. I'm like 12:30, and I gotta be up at like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
it's that immigrant work ethic, man. So
it has to be.
Just this young kid that came from a different country, from a small island, came to this big country, America.
Yeah, you just gotta try to make it.
You gotta learn to work.
Yeah,
so,
you try to make it. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I haven't really, but I take it one day at a time. You know, whatever it is. August 3rd. No, it's not even that. It's not even August 3rd. It's like, what am I doing tomorrow? Got to get my run in. Got to go to work. Got to work my pad session. You know, do things like one day at a time, one thing at a time. You know, the fight will happen regardless. I mean, God willing. But you take it one day at a time, and you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
that's it. Make it happen. The fight, you don't know what's gonna happen. You might win, you might lose, but I'm okay with losing. I don't like to lose. I don't want to lose. But if I know that I've exhausted my options for my camp, then I'm okay. I'm okay. I worked out. I grind out. I made weight. I'm good. I'm cool. I did what I was supposed to do. Then, you know, then what else? It's just, it just happens. I have no control over that.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I control what I can do. That's pretty much it.
1,000%, dude.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So another episode of Adversity Kings. Make sure you guys tune in. Like, follow, subscribe. If people want to follow you, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Instagram is namho_Muay Thai. And then on Facebook it's namho, just for my personal account where I post about like my family, just, you know, things I do. And I'm sorry, that's namchiho for my personal. And Namho is like my page where I post fights and
and all that
stuff.
Let's go.
Upcoming events and stuff like that.
Let's go. Fire.
That's pretty much it.
Fire. Thanks, guys, for tuning in for Adversity Kings. Have a great day. Peace.